G'day everyone, Ant here. Today, super excited to be introducing everybody to the new XD heavy duty bucket. It's the first in the release of the new X series range. We will have a range going from our mini bucket right through to this heavy duty and super heavy duty buckets, and there'll be one of those there to complement any size machine you've got. But this is the first one off the rack, and the engineers have done an awesome job. Let's just take that into consideration straight up. We all know the 4-in-1 bucket has relatively remained unchanged for many years. It's had the same shape, the same functions. There's been not much change or development in the bucket over many years, 30 odd years. So with this, the engineers have started from the ground up. They've got an all new look. It's got a different side profile. It's got a different geometry, and it just functions a lot better, and the whole design of the bucket really complements the host machine. So if we have a look at the front here, you see the nice heavy duty teeth here. So they're going to be able to rip into the ground. Now these are all options. Remember, a bucket can be configured into any configuration you want, whether you want teeth, one edge, two edges, three edges, bolt-on edges, you name it, you configure it. We've got the side cutters, they're optional as well. You can have 7 teeth, 9 teeth, whatever you want. You can nominate that in your build and it'll get built accordingly for you. Built right here in Queensland in our facility. So we're showcasing here today, it's got a full set of teeth on it, front bolt-on edge, rear and dozer. Each one of those edges are a bolt-on piece. So that's a piece, that's a piece, that's a piece. So if you're predominantly using this edge for cutting in all the time and you're wearing out that side of that edge, you don't have to then replace that entire front edge. You can just replace that one side and get the new piece in and save yourself some cost. So that's replicated on all 3 edges. So teeth, nice big heavy duty pinned on teeth, and we can see that the design of the back here, this is all one piece. So the load guard and the back of the bucket are all one piece. That's an integral piece of the bucket, which stiffens that bucket up, gives it a lot more strength, and ensures that you're not getting too much flex through the center. So from there, we're going to go around the back and have a look at the back, because that's where some of the key improvements have been made to this bucket, and that are going to set it ahead of everything else and make sure it's the bucket that you need on the front of your machine. So we'll quickly flip this around and have a look. Okay, here we are at the back of the bucket. There's a lot of the new features of this bucket are going to be noticed here. So if we start at the top here, we'll notice that on the top of the hungry board here, or the load guard, we've all seen those buckets that have taken a hit at the top and they've caved in, they're bent, they're twisted, things have punched through them. So you'll notice that there's a nice big heavy duty piece of RHS at the top here. So that's going to be able to withstand some of those impacts that are going to go through this life of this bucket. So that also serves as a second indicator that this flat area of this piece of RHS is lined up with the floor of the bucket. So you know that when that's parallel to the ground, you know your floor, your bucket is parallel. So in this situation where it's slightly back or up, you know that that floor is going to be slightly up. So we've also got some extra strengthening ribs in here, which is going to just help in that whole strength of that back of that bucket. And then, as we said at the front, this load guard here is all one piece. That is one piece all the way through there. So that's adding to the rigidity and strength of the bucket. You'll also notice our clear view hungry board here. So why do we call it clear view? We call it clear view because when you're looking through it, each one of these cutouts is slightly different size. We've done that intentionally so that when your eyes are looking through it, they're not strobing. If they're all the same size, your eyes try to focus on the steel part, not the gap. So they start to strobe and you get this strobing effect. So that's a feature on our existing buckets that we've carried through to this new X series, and just make sure that the operator, when he's seated in that position, can see nicely through that edge, through that load guard, and see his edge, see the tips of his teeth, all that sort of thing, and make sure that he's in the spot where he wants to be. So if we move down now to this integral piece of support here, so that's another big heavy duty piece of RHS that has been cut and bent into shape. So it's not fabricated that shape, it's not sort of 2-3 pieces of metal that has been welded together. That is one integral piece that has just been shaped into this to give it some extra rigidity and extra strength through the top of that bucket. Again, where you're getting lots of load through, where your machine's pushing through. That's where the top of your pickup is. So that's going to see huge amounts of load in that pull-out force, driving force, and that's going to be able to withstand that. So then if we move down here, we've got a nice bit of clearance at the back here for all your hosing and everything to route through the back there, so it's not sitting here exposed to where your pickup is. It's all tucked up nicely behind there. So if you've got a counterbalance valve or a lock valve or something in there, it's nicely tucked up out of the way. You can still get it. There's service points here that you can get easy access to, so it's not having to try and delve your hand in behind there, but they're just nicely protected. So then if we move over to the side here, you'll notice we've got some cutouts here and some cutouts here. So they're a dual purpose as well. So they're not only going to act as a run your chain through, and if you want to chain it down on the truck or something like that, or a lift point when you're dragging it into position or something like that, but they're also going to allow you to get the pressure washer in there and clean out any debris that builds up behind there, because we all know that debris gets in behind those cylinders. So also to help that, we've moved the bottom of the cylinder slightly away from the back of the bucket. That's given a nice open clearance at the bottom here, so that anything that does fall down in there and gets in there, it's going to drop down and away from that bottom of that cylinder, because as we know, the cylinder will move in and out slightly as it's opening and closing through its function, and as that dirt would build up in older models, you would again see pressure applied to the cylinder, which causes you to get seal leaks and all those sorts of things. So that's a great improvement. We've also put the service points are on the inside here, and they've got the grease nipples, which are nicely protected. They're not going to be wiped out. Everything is serviced from the inside of the bucket. All your grease points here. The cylinder has been increased in size. It's got a bigger bore, so it's more heavy duty, and it's got a greater compression rate and hold rate for when you're clamping something in with that bucket. So we've also got, as we mentioned, the front of there, the clevises, so nice and heavy duty in here and locked into that sort of section of the bucket. So it then, with that redesign of the geometry of that, it gives it a slightly better opening. It's a nice wide opening, and then also increases on that clamp force. And then we'll see that at the side here when we pop around the side. We've got the teeth here that help hold any material that you're clamping in that bucket, and then with the extra size cylinders, you're going to have a nice firm hold of whatever you're picking up. So that sort of wraps up all the features of the bucket, and I think you'll agree that it's an awesome looking bucket. It's going to complement that host machine of yours, and it's going to give you great serviceable life like all Digga products. So there you go, that's our new heavy duty X series bucket. If you need to know some more information about it, or want to just see some more information about it, check out the website. We'll have information up on there, or give us a call, talk to the sales team, only too happy to help you out.